Hello, my friends, and welcome back to a brand new Realm News. I am your host, the Dark Lord, the one who puts the real in Realm and expands your mind one block at a time. And I want to tell you all, today I have a very exciting episode. This is part one of a two-part series. Yes, I'm having a lot of two-parters, but I'm getting a lot of guests on the show, and we just can't quit talking, so I have to break these things in half because we have so much interesting things to talk about, and you will not want to miss today's episode. Yes, part one, I have a special guest named Randy Bishop, and they are an amazing Minecraft content creator. You can find their content on YouTube and on Blue Sky where they make their posts. They are also a musician that have been part of a band called The Bell Beat, and he's been a musician since high school for over 20 years, I believe is what they told me in this. Anyways, you'll find out. So stay tuned is what I'm saying. And I can't wait to present this to you because I'm going to pick his brain. I'm going to find out how he makes his videos. So if you are into content creation, this is right up your alley because you're going to hear about some software that they use. You're going to hear about what motivates them, what gives them inspiration, all sorts of things. Today's all about content Minecraft creation. Then in part two next week, we will be getting into redstone contraptions that they build, and a lot of it's about the music that he creates. So when you are ready, let's get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Realm News. I am your host, the Dark Lord, the one who puts the real in Realm and expands your mind one block at a time. I have a very special guest on this show who is a Minecraft creator and a musician. His name is Randy Bishop. According to Randy's own YouTube page, he is a, quote, Minecraft addict and a member of Astrea SMP. He creates artsy videos focusing on cinematics, original music, and building with elements like farms and redstone contraptions, end quote. Randy is also a songwriter, guitarist, and keyboardist for the band The Bell Beat. Hello and welcome to Realm News. Randy, it is a pleasure to have you on the show. How are you doing, my friend?
Pretty good. Thank you for inviting me on. I'm very excited.
I'm excited to have you here. It's just a blast that you agreed to come on. Could you just please, just before we dive into all these questions, give kind of a rundown to the audience? You are a Minecraft creator and a musician, correct?
Yeah. Brand new Minecraft creator, mind you. I mean, at least I would consider brand new because I first started posting Minecraft content on Blue Sky, I think January of this year, so 2025. So 6 months ago. And I got a lot of likes and started getting follows. So it's like, okay, well, maybe I'll make a little tour video of my world. I had like a Forever World, the trending Forever World thing, a Java Forever World. So I'm like, okay, maybe I'll throw a little tour video together. I posted it on Blue Sky. Is anyone interested? And got a lot of likes. So I threw that up on YouTube, and it's just been downhill since then.
Downhill since then.
So musician though for a long time. I've been playing in bands since high school, and I'm well out of high school. So divulging my age, I've been in bands for a long time.
Well, out of high school for me. Sorry, I don't play anything. No, that's awesome. I'll be diving into your Minecraft content creation first in the show, and as we were talking about prior to this recording, just to tell the audience, depending on how long we talk, this could be a two-parter. So anyways, I want to dive into your Minecraft content creation first, and then the second part of the show, I would love to hear about your musical career in more depth, because you're Realm News' first musician ever to come on the show.
Yeah.
And I would be amiss if I didn't talk about that with you. I've been wanting to get a musician on for a long time. I love music, so I'm excited to talk about that with you.
I love the intro music, by the way, that you have, the little jazz. It reminds me of Eric B. and Rakim. What is it? Don't Sweat the Technique. I don't know if you're a hip hop fan at all, but
that's awesome. I'm going to look into that. No,
I mean, it's a sample. It's a jazz sample that they pull, but it's kind of a similar like walking bass line to your intro.
I appreciate that coming from a musician. I can't really take much credit except for choosing it because it came right from GarageBand. So
that's totally fine. I mean, it works.
Well, thank you. So let's dive into this. You were talking about that you started your posting your builds on YouTube about 6 months ago, back in January of this year. When did you exactly start playing Minecraft?
I started 5 years ago, approximately 5 years ago, maybe closer to 6 now. I'm a father and I have an 11-year-old son, and he really, really wanted, during the pandemic, basically, he really wanted to start playing Minecraft because we were bored. We were,
perfect time
at home. And I'm not a huge gamer. I don't have any consoles or anything. I used to when I was a kid, like I had, Super NES and Nintendo and all that stuff. But since college, I never really invested in any consoles, never got into PC gaming at all. It was always just one of those things that I knew if I got into, I'd get obsessed, which is exactly what happened. So it's more of a thing that I was purposely avoiding. I had nothing against it necessarily. Anyway, long story short, he wanted to play Minecraft. He was interested. Somehow he got exposed to like YouTube Kids videos of like a couple, Minecrafters, and he was interested. So we downloaded Bedrock, on his, or whatever, Pocket Edition, whatever it's called, on his iPad. And he was 5, so he's not super, he wasn't able to really play the game. So he made me play it while he watched. And I kind of got hooked right after that. Like, I remember the first day I fell into a water hole and I was 1 block down and I could not get out for the life of me. And I didn't even know how to mine or anything. I didn't know what I was doing at all. Like literally I had no knowledge of this game except for, the toys and stuff that you'd see, the popular culture surrounding it. I have no knowledge of playing the game. I never even watched anyone play the game. So it probably took me like 20, 30 minutes just to get out of that hole. But somehow I still fell in love with the game.
That is hilarious. I love that story that you fell in love with the game by bonding with your son.
Yeah, and he's still into it too. And he's Bedrock versus Java is a very hot topic in my household. He's a Bedrock fan. I'm a Java fan. He plays with his friends. He's divulged from directions. So he's really, really into the parkour and PvP stuff.
Okay.
And breaking Minecraft. He really loves to like do weird hacks, kind of like Doc M77 if you watch any Hermit Crafters, but in Bedrock. He likes to do things that like shouldn't be done, without cheats or anything, just like duping things and what have you. But he at this point just destroys me in both of those categories, parkour or PvP. Like even in Java, like I can't keep up with him at all. There was a long stretch of time, and most parents would probably understand this, where you've grown up around computers or games or something, and you're gonna crush your kid anytime. And really, you have to like fake losing just to so their tempers don't flare. And then there was this switch all of a sudden, like within a couple month period, where now no matter how hard I try, it's a sweat, as he puts it. No matter how hard I sweat, I cannot even get a hit on him in PvP. It's pretty bad.
That's hilarious. I personally have never really played PvP. I can only imagine. If it's anything like how young kids play Call of Duty when I used to play that, then I would probably just be I would just lose every time because
it's hilarious, especially with Bedrock. I don't know if you're familiar with like the combat system and how it was never really updated for Bedrock in comparison to Java. So, Java, you have like cooldown and stuff like that. So there's this like juggling thing that you can do in Bedrock where you get somebody up in the air and you can't, like, as the victim of being juggled, like you can't do anything. You're basically, your feet are getting hit and you're trying to reach to hit him, and you're in the air completely not able to really control your character, back up, go forward. He does that to me within, 15 seconds. I'm dead. It's like, what just happened?
What happened? Wasn't aware of the juggling maneuver. That's interesting.
Yeah, and then speed bridging and all this stuff. Like he has me go into these like Bed Wars, the Hive, like all these different servers, and it's a miserable experience for me. But I do it anyways because, like you said earlier, it's bonding. It's fine.
Yeah, it sounds like a fun time. No, that's awesome. I'm glad to get that aspect of Minecraft, that view of. No, that's cool. That's how you got into that. And so, how was your first? Did you fall in that water hole?
Yeah, I fell in the water. That was my first. Well, I probably exaggerated a little hyperbolic. I think I did get out within like 5 minutes or so. I do remember the first. I remember the first night though, because the first night is what hooked me, which is probably a common story that you hear.
Yeah, that's why I want to ask. Like, I wanted to pick your brain about like what was that sensation like?
Yeah, exactly. It was terrifying. And it was really amped up because, my 5-year-old over my shoulder, like kind of, he knew more about the game. So he knew monsters were going to come out. I didn't even know monsters were going to come out. I didn't know anything. Again, I was complete novice. So, we're going and the sun is setting and, you start hearing the growling of zombies and, the rattling of skeletons and stuff. And yeah, it was pretty much hiding in a hole like that, but with his guidance. I didn't know what to do, but we had no wool, no bed, nothing. So we just hid in a hole for, 10, 20 minutes that night happens, peeking out every once in a while.
Yeah.
But that feeling, that like genuine fear.
Yeah.
From a blocky, 16 pixel like textured game was so great. And actually, furthermore, the first time, like we built a base and our first base was just in the side of a cliff. Digging in and what have you. And it was the first time we heard those mine noises, like the ethereal, like, that was terrifying.
The clunks in the dark.
My wife was in the room and she's like, what game are you playing? Like, cause I don't know if we just had it turned up on his iPad or whatever, but it was just absolutely terrifying. But yeah, I was immediately hooked after the first night for sure.
That's awesome. I had similar experience, except for I didn't have a 5-year-old. Mine was my 2-year younger brother who introduced me to the game and didn't tell me much about it. And at first I scoffed at it. I was like, I'm not going to play that kid looking game.
Exactly.
And
yeah,
I think I was in my early 20s. And then I played it. And that first night, like you, I got addicted. It was the fear. And I think that was where the magic happened, was why am I scared in this pixelated environment? And the noises and everything just heightened that. And that's what just honestly keeps me drawn in still today. My girlfriend sees me jump every once in a while when I get frightened from a creeper that enters my peripheral vision all of a sudden. Like the other day, I just I think kind of jumped. A jump scare a little bit. So I don't know. I like that about the game. Now, I wanted to ask, since you mentioned you just got into Minecraft content creation, you've been doing that for about 6 months. Content creation is an intensive endeavor. I can only imagine what video content creation is like, because I've never done anything like that. But what is it that keeps you making this and keeps you fueled?
I actually love creating videos and creating content, and even aside from Minecraft, I have like a hiking channel that I've had for 9 years, I think. Most significant output on that hiking channel, but I just love the act of editing videos and creating sound and, in effects and what have you. And then the content creation there's a lot of overlaps with being a musician and being in a band and actively releasing albums and releasing, or playing shows and what have you. There's like streaming is basically playing a show. It's not that different. And except for there's a lot more improv. I guess it would be like playing a show if you were in a jazz improv group a little bit more streaming. Because, being a rock band, everything's prescribed. Like, we know the beginning and end of the song. We know the set list. We know exactly how things are going to go. Mm-hmm. And there might be a little bit of impromptu, crowd banter or what have you, but that's about it. And then releasing videos is very similar to releasing music. It's, you just a lot of work in editing and design and getting everything just right, and then pushing publish. It's obviously there's a visual aspect rather than just audio, but yeah, all that stuff is actually what keeps me going, because it was an opportunity with my hiking channel. I think I've only published like 9 videos, 10 videos or something like that, maybe more, maybe a dozen or so in 9 years. It's just really hard to get out, film it all, edit it all. I only get out like maybe 3 or 4 times a year, and I don't want to bring a camera every single time because it's exhausting. It's an exhausting activity to, like, I'm a long distance hiker, and doing those trips is fairly intensive. Minecraft, though, I work from home, and immediately after, shutting down for the day on my day job, I just swap to my gaming machine and start recording videos. It's super, super easy, very low barrier of entry. So yeah, I started gravitating toward it because simply I enjoy doing the aspect of making, of creating, and it was just so much easier to do. I'm still going to make hiking videos, but yeah, it was this thing that I was already doing. I was already playing the game and enjoying it and what have you. So it was just an opportunity to turn that into, marry those two loves together of editing videos and, commentary and story and what have you. And yeah, good times.
That makes a lot of sense, and I can see where you're coming from with hiking videos and you not wanting to always record that, because that kind of takes away from your experience of the hike as well.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
For sure. In some aspects, I enjoyed it in as far as I'm probably the biggest fan of watching my own hiking videos is like more of like a memory capsule, kind of thing. But while you're in it, it's kind of type 2 fun, while you're in it, you do not feel like hitting record when you're like sweaty and exhausted from hiking like a 20-mile day. You do not feel like hitting the record button. And then you have to worry about like, you have no control when it comes to lighting or sound or anything. So capturing moments is just so much more difficult. I have mad respect for the people that create that content regularly and, put in the time and effort, and especially like the thru hikers, the Appalachian Trail or Pacific Crest Trail people. It's just amazing. Yeah. So
I'll have to check out some of those videos because I do love to hike. And to all of you Minecraft players out there that love hiking, go check out Randy's. What is that?
It's just Randy Bishop Hikes. I'm very boring, as my son says with my names. Randy Bishop Games is my Minecraft, and Randy Bishop Hikes is my hiking channel.
No, keep it simple. It's easier to remember, and that's on YouTube, right? You said.
Yep. Yeah, it's linked. If you go to either one of the channels, they're linked in the main channel page, toward the bottom.
No, okay, cool. Yeah, I'll have to check those out myself. I haven't looked at your hiking videos. I've only looked at your SMP. It's all your builds, your Minecraft builds. Which do you do that all on the Estrella SMP?
Yeah, I have only a few episodes. I have like a forever world that I've had pretty much since I started playing. It's probably close to 5 years old, 3.5, 4 years old, something like that.
That's a good. That's a good amount of time.
I think I created it right when Caves and Cliffs Part 1 was released, like immediately.
Was
like
that
week?
The first one you opened up with your son?
No. We had a few Bedrock worlds. He's got like 100 million worlds. I just I've probably only created like a half dozen worlds in my entire Minecraft career. If you call it that.
Same, honestly.
I'm very particular. We had one realm that it was a Bedrock realm that we were playing on for a while, and we both created like little like villages and stuff like that. But his interest in building and world building especially is just very, very low. So he ended up just kind of gravitating to his other million worlds where he just basically creates them and griefs them and what have you. But yeah, this is actually, it is my first Java world that I created though. I wanted to do Java just because I wanted to have shaders. I wanted to be able to like see what shaders look like. And so I made the leap over into Java and then created this world, Caves and Cliffs Part 1, and it's been the same world. I literally only have 3 worlds in my Java, which is a test world, like a redstone test world, a creative version of my forever world, and then my survival version of my forever world.
Interesting. So your survival world's separate, and you just go on to the Estrella. Are you on the Estrella? Did I see that right on your YouTube? Or
yeah, I have most of my episodes or most of my videos on YouTube are from Estrella.
Gotcha. And what is that server? Could you explain that a little bit? Because I'm not terribly familiar with it. It's kind of exclusive, isn't it, to get on there? Or
maybe it's actually really open. Like we have Bedrock players now, so if you wanted to join it, you could.
I think I may have clicked on the wrong thing because I saw something like when I was researching Estrella, I saw something like called a white envelope server, and I was like, "What is that?" And it was super limited. I was like, okay, so it's just you play around on an exclusive server, I thought, but I was totally wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it is white, whitelist, so you have to, get whitelisted. But the server owner, who goes by Asumi, he whitelists pretty much anyone. Given that you'll follow the rule, the rules are pretty, like common sense, like no griefing,
like, no, that makes sense.
Yeah, no killing unless it's agreed upon by both parties and stuff like that. But I was just invited to it, like I was posting on Blue Sky, and a lot of the Estrella members are on Blue Sky, it seems, and they were really liking my content. And then one of them, Creative Villages, she's on Estrella. She's kind of like the lead, I wouldn't say recruiter necessarily, but she's the one she's like the A&R rep, if you know music of Estrella. She'll walk people through, do server tours, walk people through the shopping district and public farms and stuff like that. But cool. She invited me, essentially. I was too shy to like actually ask. I was liking all their posts and everything. Like, we were engaging, all the Estrella members and me on Blue Sky. We were engaging quite a bit, but I was way too shy to ask. So luckily she reached out and she's like, "Hey, are you interested in joining?" I'm like, "Yes, for sure."
And when did you join that server?
February.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was immediately after, like, I posted a bunch of images on Blue Sky of my builds for Minecraft starting in January, and then posted my first Forever World video. Like, it was a series of 3 videos touring my Forever World. I posted those in early February, and then by or late January, early February, and then by February 15th, I want to say, I already joined the Estrella server.
Wow. So these past 5 years, your Minecraft career has just been kind of amplifying and leading up to this point.
Well, yeah, it was probably 4 years of just playing completely, me and my son by myself, that kind of thing. And then the last 6 months have been really fast.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I love the videos you've been producing. I'm about to get into that, actually. And it's good. That's why I asked about Estrella, because I thought I noticed you produce your videos on that server. So that's good to know. I wanted to ask next. So what is, just to get some insight, what is your workflow for planning and executing a big Minecraft project? Do you do this all in like survival mode, or do you build these in creative, or is it a mixture of both, or how do you go about making these constructs?
It's a mixture of both. Usually the exterior I'll do in creative and then bring it over using Lightmatica into a survival world. The interiors I typically will do in survival, but not always. It just depends on the interior. Like, I just built these in Estrella, for instance. I have this very large greenhouse, and that's actually built to model a greenhouse conservatory, whatever you want to call it, in a park in Detroit. So it's Belle Isle, and they have a very large conservatory. I scaled it up because I was actually having this conversation with a fellow Australian, if you want to use that as a noun, a fellow Australian member. his name is Devin, and he built a cathedral, and it started as like, it was modeled after a real church. And the church, if you actually scale it similarly in Minecraft, using the, meters to, a block is a meter, that math, it actually ends up being very, you could guess it, very blocky. It just doesn't have the smooth curves or what have you. I ran into the exact same problem with the conservatory. So the actual dome of the conservatory, I think, is like, I don't know, maybe 50 meters tall or something like that. It's fairly large. Wow. But I had to go up. I'm way off. Maybe 20 meters. I had to go up to like 50 or something. In order to get the roundness and the smooth lines and angles and everything. So yeah, what I did is I just took photographs. Literally went there, took photographs, and modeled it after that. I made some creative decisions as far as it looks a little rougher than it does in real life. I made it a little more textured, a little more run down and what have you on the Estrella server. But then the interior, which that build, I haven't even done the interior yet. I'll typically just wing it. In terraforming, I do as well. I just wing it on survival because I know Axiom, there's like tools for that, but oftentimes, well, at least for Estrella, we're blind to the seed. So no one can really load the seed and manipulate, terraform an area and then bring it over. So I'm just like, right now, the last couple of weeks, I've just been basically digging at my island on Estrella. I have a very large island. I've just been digging in and like changing the cliff faces and doing stuff like that. So yeah, it's a mix basically of creative versus survival.
And you're doing that manually.
Oh yeah, it's all survival. So it's just, I got a bunch of picks and just going to work, beacons and yeah.
Wow. Cause I see your videos. I saw you, was it a pond or was that a lake that you built? I saw cause you do a really cool fast forward, like, you
the
see
time
just
lapse?
The time lapse. Sorry, I couldn't think of the word. Yeah, the time lapse, and I just see like digging it out super fast, and it turns out really beautiful. I have some questions, I believe, further in about that, but like, no. So you do that all by crafting pickaxes and shovels and.
Yep. Yeah. That was actually completely in survival. I didn't bring out anything over in creative. If you watch the time lapse, you have to kind of watch it closely because I think it was over. I always know because Flashback, like I can bring up Flashback and know exactly how long I've spent on it. I think that one was like a 12-hour endeavor.
Dang.
And Flashback is the most wonderful tool. I can't.
Yeah.
It never breaks. I mean, talking about, I spent 26 hours blowing up my island. I used TNT dupers to I wanted to lower the elevation of my island. My island was like, I want to say 100 blocks into the air. And I brought it down. Actually, even it was higher than that. It was like 150. I wanted to bring it down to like 75, 76, somewhere around there, because that's where I built my greenhouse first. And then I had no plan. And it looked silly because it was like, it basically was surrounded by an armchair of cliff.
Oh.
So I had a decision of like, well, I could terraform the cliff to make it look better, but who in their right mind would build a conservatory into the edge of a cliff? You want sun. Like that's the whole point. It's a greenhouse. Yeah. So I'm like, I got to lower this. I got to bring this down. So I ran two TNT dupers over. It was probably like a week and a half. Dang. And every single time I was doing it, I recorded in flashback. And then I had, I think 10 flashbacks. I combined them all. It was 26 hours of footage. And, it didn't fail. Like it was I think it crashed once. And that was because I did something really silly in the editor. Like I was trying to like flash around or whatever, like go from the start to the end. But yeah, hit render. I mean, these renders, like that one in particular, it was 26 hours of footage that I rendered down to about 5 minutes, I think.
Jeez.
And to create the time lapse. And each render, I did it like different angles so I could cut it in the video. Flashback has the ability where you can change cameras and stuff, but I like to actually render like, okay, this is a 90-degree, zero pitch, like straight ahead view. I'm going to render it from start to finish because I want to be able to cut it to music later. And you can't bring in a track into Flashback and then, see where the beats are and everything. So I'll just render out like 5 or 6 different angles and then cut them to the beats. Well, the render alone took 45 minutes, I think. So do that like 6, 7, 8 times. Like that was my life for a weekend, is just walking back to my computer and hitting render.
Could you please explain what is Flashback? I'm not
familiar
with it.
Are you familiar with the replay mod at all?
I am not. I'm not really too familiar with it. I have not done any creative build. I'm not a streamer, so I just actually got into stream. I've streamed a couple videos, so I don't consider myself a streamer, and I haven't built anything to show off. So I'm not familiar.
So Flashback is basically like the spiritual successor to replay mod. So essentially what it is when you're in the game, the mod gives you the ability to record play, or record player movement, builds, everything. Record like frame by frame, basically everything that you're doing in the game. And then it saves it into an archive file, into a zip file, essentially. And then you can bring it into an editor, which it's almost like a creative version of the game. So if you're in survival, you're recording the content, you hit start record, and then you're done with the content, you hit stop. Then you go exit the game, exit the world that you're in, and then you can actually open up your replay footage or flashback footage, whatever you want to call it, and it gives you a video editor, like a scrubber, like Adobe Premiere, and then you can actually place cameras, you can place time lapses, like you can speed up the content, slow down the content, you can rotate the cameras, you can put the cameras on dollies, essentially, so you can, real filmmaker tools. That's essentially, you can change their field of view. Yeah.
That's so Flashback does a lot more than literally just flashback.
You can do anything. And it doesn't record player audio, so you'd have to bring that in separate, like if you were on a mic talking, but it does record most game audio. It has a little bit of problem with some mob sounds. I've noticed, like in my most recent video, for instance, I built a creeper farm and the creepers are going down these magma blocks. It doesn't record them making hit damage, like, when every time they take damage, but it does record their death sound. So like it gets close. Sometimes you'll have to, I actually downloaded, someone somehow acquired all the Minecraft mob noises. So I actually have that as a file that I'll reference once in a while and just put them in. I use DaVinci Resolve. I'll actually place like all the noises and stuff. That instance I didn't, because it wasn't worthwhile to the point I was trying to get across. But yeah, it's essentially like giving you the ability to film a movie after you've filmed the movie, if that makes any sense.
No. So so you have your recording and you render it, or you put it into Flashback and it does its rendering, right? And
you place all the cameras and the speed in which you want the movie to play. You can also control what time of day it is, what the weather is.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is extremely amazing. You'll notice most of my time lapses, which is probably fairly typical for Minecraft Java creators, at least. They start at like sunrise and then end at sunset. Like I could have been building that thing for 16 hours. It's always going to start at sunrise and end at sunset.
I'm really happy that you brought up Flashback and that program or software, because I was going to ask you how it is that you make this so cinematic looking. I've been curious because I have seen like streamers get these amazing angles, and I've always been stunned and have wondered, how is it that you do that? And you just answered my question. May I ask, was that hard was there a learning curve to that software to learn how to use that?
I don't think it's as hard to learn as Replay. I'll tell you that. Replay, I tried when I first started like into this Minecraft thing, which again is only like 6 months ago. I downloaded Replay because that's what I always heard that people used, and I tried to do like a couple quick like edits, camera angle kind of things, and I was so frustrated with it that I immediately searched out to see if there's an alternative. And Flashback actually is fairly new. I think it's only like a year old or something, maybe 2 years old.
Oh, wow.
So I discovered that, and it was like, well, it only supports, 1.20, whatever up. And I'm like, well, that's all I'm using. So I'll try this. In Flashback, if you've ever used Adobe Premiere or DaVinci Resolve or even like CapCut or any of those video editors, then you're probably 90% there. It's timeline based. You place keyframes across the timeline, and then you animate between those keyframes. It's fairly straightforward.
That's really good to know, and I'm sure a lot of the listeners out there will appreciate hearing that too, especially people just getting into it. And no, that's fascinating. I'm happy to hear that. I want to ask, like, in your constructions or your builds, how do you decide which blocks, biomes, or themes to use while constructing, let's say, your pond? Is it something you sit down ahead of time and brainstorm, or is it something you build on the fly?
Mainly on the fly. The pond specifically was also based on a real life pond that is part of that conservatory. So the conservatory has a really nice landscaping around it in real life. So
I just want to interject and say, I think that's really cool that you're taking inspiration from actual places and going there. You taking photos like from the road? Yes, actually got above that conservatory, right?
Well, there's some drone. It's a very popular destination, so there's drone shots that I didn't take, that I searched out and found online and what have you. But going there and taking photographs, especially for like the little things that people don't typically take photographs on. So you go to Google Maps, Google Photos, or whatever, you'll find like tons of photographs of popular destinations, but no one's going to take a picture of like the corner of the floor, and I'm curious, like, how does that tile go from this tile to the entranceway to the concrete outside? How does that work? So I'll take weird pictures like that just to get those little details. Because usually people are taking like the beautiful landscape. Sorry, that's my Google speaker. If you heard that,
no, you're fine.
You're fine. Usually you'll see these beautiful landscape photographs with the sun in the perfect location and what have you. It's like those are helpful for proportions, but it's not really helpful when I want to know exactly the detail of like how that wall connects to the glass, and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a mix though. Like the pond, for instance, I have a couple photographs in the pond, but I actually didn't get the super detailed ones that I wanted. So those were all just based on, actually there was one video that I found. The video is the best because you'll get like just someone walking around and they'll be filming atmospheric set, like B-roll kind of stuff. They might be filming their kid, feeding the fish or something, but they'll pan around in such a way that you can pause it and say, okay, exactly how does this connect to that? And so I used some photos and some videos to recreate it as best I can. But obviously the Minecraft block palette is a lot more limiting than real life. So you have to take some creative liberties. And I think I did a decent job, but it's still like the pond specifically still bothers me in some ways. I think it bothers me though, because it's the only done area in the whole like landscape. Everything else is just like flat green grass. So as I terraform, as I start building more trees and stuff, I think it'll fit more. So I'm letting it rest for right now. But yeah, that's how I usually go about things, whether it's in creative or survival. I often model things off of real life.
I really like that, and I'm glad to know that. I had no idea that you were inspired in taking real life architecture and landscape. That's really neat. It actually kind of, in a way, reminds me of Zetterstrand and how he uses his real life artwork and incorporate it into the game. But I don't know, it just gives me that same feeling of how you're doing that with going in and actually taking pictures, getting inspiration, or using videos, other people, third-party videos, as you said, B-roll footage, and being inspired from that. I think that's really, really cool. I've never would have thought about that, or I don't know other people that do that. So that's really neat. I wanted to also ask, I always bring up the pond because that was the first thing that popped in my head. But you mentioned your conservatory, and I seen a couple other builds of yours, but is there a certain motif you're going for? You mentioned the conservatory. It's not exact replica of it, but you kind of did you say that you made it a little bit more like overgrown? Is that what you were saying?
Bigger, yeah, just larger scale wise in general. And I made it a little rougher looking, so I textured a little bit more. Yeah, the real conservatory doesn't have moss growing all over the side of it or anything like that.
I like that.
They keep it fairly clean. Yeah, I like it too. That's why because there's not, you're dealing with 1 meter by 1 meter blocks in Minecraft. There's not, there's a tendency to fall into repetition with patterns. So in order to break those repetitions, it's nice to, instead of using light gray glass, you throw in a gray glass, just to kind of break the motif. In real life though, the texture isn't limited to 1 meter by 1 meter. So the chance of falling into those patterns aren't quite as high.
I see. And with that, with the moss and it kind of the overgrown nature overtaking type thing, is that something you're doing with all your structures? Are you keeping that theme throughout?
Yeah,
your videos?
For Estrella, the world that I'm building in Estrella, which is based on an island. I'm basing on an island using like Minecraft base kind of base. So I'm trying to transform the entire island to a park, kind of like a national park or state park or something along those lines, provincial park maybe if you're Canadian. So I'm bringing in elements that would be common in a park. So I'm going to start building more pavilions. I have the conservatory, that's kind of like the focal point. That would be the destination of why people would travel to this island, this park. But I'm also going to build a forest, maybe multiple forests, possibly a lake, some pavilions, maybe a little campsite area, hiking trail, stuff like that. I have some other ideas for like certain sections too, to maybe do like a burned forest area, just to switch things up a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's for that world. For my forever world, it's more chaos. Like I have everything from colonial revivalist houses to a 13th century castle. It's like it's just everywhere.
Do you in your forever world, do you have you developed your own lore and canon?
Yeah, I mean, I should say. Yeah, it's probably fairly typical of certain worlds. Like the lore is that the castle had been there for a very long time, and then this city has just been going through evolutions since then. So maybe there's aspects of the city that are fairly modern that kind of surround the castle, but the castle itself is just been maintained as the 16th or 13th or whatever. I forget what I modeled it after, but a very old structure.
That's neat. And you've been in that world for 5 years, you say?
Around there, yeah.
Dang, that's pretty neat. Are there what's the hardest part about producing consistent Minecraft content in your opinion?
Time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Working a full-time job. I know you have 2 full-time jobs, right? Or 2 jobs rather.
Yeah, 2 one full-time and a part-time. So
yeah. I only have 1 full-time, even working from home, being a dad and everything. It's time. Dad's
a full-time job from what I hear.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we just had a family vacation a week ago, and I'm not going to be able to get a video out. I try to get a video out every 2 weeks around there, maybe a little shorter, like 11, 12 days or something like that. It's probably going to be another, 7 days, a week at the least to get another video out. So yeah, it's time. It's really a struggle because the time that it takes to like open up say if I'm working on a new shop, for instance, on the Estrella server, a redstone shop. So spoilers. There's no redstone shop. So it's a necessity. So I'm working on a new shop, and I have a rocket shop right now. So it sells firework rockets. I wanted to do a shop right next to it, kind of like a little main street, and opening up creative, where I have my rocket shop, building the structure, decorating the structure, populating it with, or then building all the farms that are external to that structure. Like I need a witch farm for redstone supply, and I need a piglin bartering farm for a good quartz supply. All that stuff, in the end, I'm probably like 4 weeks into, maybe even longer, into actually getting this thing ready to have on the server. So, and that's just one shop, let alone like the creeper farm that I just built. That's my latest video. That probably was like, I want to say 10 days to, from first block placed in creative. In that instance, I did the exterior in creative, to actually having it on the server. All that for, what is that time lapse? A minute and a half, maybe.
How does that make you feel to see? Because, you mentioned, and I looked this up, you mentioned that you turned 26 hours into 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
That comes out to be exactly 0.32% of the total time. How does that make you feel to see that much time put into something reduced down to a minute or two?
I think it's awesome to look at for a viewer. I'm not sure if the viewers understand the scope of some of the things that people are doing, like Hermitcraft. And well, see, I wouldn't even make that comparison because I have a full-time job. I'm not a full-time content creator. So most of those folks on, like, say, Hermitcraft are full-time. So it's a different realm for sure. But for me, like, that's a lot of late nights. Yeah,
that's a passion project there.
Exactly. It doesn't make me feel like wasted at all, like a waste of time. I'm not sure. Like, it is frustrating that most of the time goes into like the tiny little time lapse, but at the same time, I do get a lot more content out of it by just talking about it or streaming after the fact and then walking around and what have you. So, not that I'll ever, it's not a one-to-one relationship at all. There's no point where 26 hours of work will equate to 26 hours of watch time on YouTube, for instance. That equation is probably not going to work out.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, I'm not really, this is kind of a digression, but I went into this with the determined to not get obsessed with the numbers, with stuff like that, like subscriber count or watch time or anything like that. I do check YouTube analytics and all that stuff,
of course.
But in my music career, I obsessed over all of that, and I'm trying to turn a new leaf and not care about that stuff. So I'm just trying to really authentically create things that I'm interested in, and I'm trying to, that I would be interested in as a viewer, and just trying to do the best possible job at doing that, and then let the chips fall as they may.
No, I think that's a good way to approach it. I mean, you're doing great work. I think the followers will just naturally, arrive and just build up over time, honestly.
And just another point, not to cut you off there, but just another point too, as far as that approach. Mm-hmm. When you're going into Minecraft, I mean, Minecraft celebrated 1 trillion views on YouTube like a couple of years ago. I think you even covered this, right?
I think it was trillion hours.
Trillion hours? Okay.
Yeah.
When you're going into the, hands down, no question, no debate, the most saturated content on YouTube is Minecraft content, and you're going into that hoping for something. Like, that's just a silly way to approach it.
I trust me, I know the feeling. I don't do the video part, but I'm part of that trillion hours of content being produced.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're right. It is a saturated field, and I feel though that almost that Minecraft content creators are the most passionate, because I'm it's insane. And I want to say that this you mentioning, or you just saying, like, how many hours are put into these these, what did you call it? A flashback, these quick, these time lapses. And I was asking, almost like if you experience a time dilation from putting in so many hours of work into a few minutes. Yeah. And you said rhetorically that you don't think people realize how much time and energy goes into something like that, like what you do in Hermitcraft. I think you're right. They don't, because I didn't until now. Like I had no idea that those fast clips were so many hours of work until you just said that. Like, that's why I did the math. I was like, oh my God, that was only 1/3 of a percent of the time.
Yeah.
So no, that's amazing. Sure. I'm glad that you said that, because maybe people will be more aware and appreciate that type of.
And beyond that too, that's just, you're just watching them build something in survival, for instance, just to take a build. My real time sync was the whole TNT dupers to like blow up the island, the flying machines.
Oh my gosh.
But to build like the conservatory, for instance, that's a perfect example, because that's a very large build for me, at least. That I think was 12 hours of build time. And that does not even count. I'm in survival, so I had to gather all the materials, and I was fresh to the server. I had nothing. I was running out of rockets left and right. Luckily, someone gifted me Elytra like my first day, so that was a huge win. But yeah, I didn't even have a chest to my name when I started. Immediately, I was laser focused when I joined the server. I'm going to build this conservatory.
Yeah.
So didn't even count for gathering the supplies, digging out the mountainside to place the conservatory, and then and before all that, designing the conservatory in creative. Like all of that is discounted from the 12 or 16, whatever it took to actually assemble it. And when I assembled it, that was just going by a schematic, Lightmatica. So I was just layer by layer, just placing blocks,
Gosh.
And yeah, it's an amazingly high number of hours.
It sounds extremely tedious too, because if you get a block off, won't that throw everything? Because I used to do masonry work like for about 14 years. If you throw off a brick, it throws off all the other bricks and the layers.
Yeah, that's why you use Lightmatica though. So
okay, that helps.
It's a schematic that you basically are placing. It's almost like an outline. So you're just placing.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Lightmatica is a absolute lifesaver in those when you're transferring something over from creative, because essentially it just lays out a blueprint of the entire build for you. And
pardon my ignorance on all that.
Yeah, and then you can place it one block at a time. However, in creative, to your point, I remember doing I was using World Edit in creative mode to try to save yourself some time. I just recently discovered Axiom, which is made by the same developers as Flashback, Mulberry.
Okay.
But back in World Edit, you can copy and paste sections to duplicate, and I got one of the copy and pastes off, and I didn't notice it until way late in the build. I'm like, why does the right side, or I was doing the floor, that's when I noticed it. So I built the whole structure of the conservatory, so this beautiful glass building, and then I was laying the floor. That was the last thing I was doing. And I was copy and pasting the floor, and the floor was not lining up as it should. And I'm like, okay, is my math wrong? Am I counting things wrong? What am I doing? And then I discovered that the glass structure itself was one block too close on one side.
Oh man.
It was such a disappointment.
So what happened?
I had to just move it and then just deal with the consequences. So when you move things in World Edit, if you're moving, a block into another block, it'll just delete, the block that you're moving into. So that's what I mean by like deal with the consequences. So I moved the structure, and I'm like, okay, that explains why this always looked weird or that always looked weird. And then I just had to basically rebuild and retexture around one of the inlets, one of the doorways, I guess you could say. And it wasn't a huge deal, but it was just the amount of time. And actually, this often happens to me too. When I bring it over into survival, I'll bring over a huge build, and then while I'm assembling in survival, I'll realize, oh, I have totally the wrong blocks here in creative and in the schematic. It's like that's not the blocks that I'm supposed to. Because I'll change my mind while I'm doing it in creative. And you're just flying around really fast, and you're working on a very large structure, especially. You just tend to forget that. Oh, I didn't like this. Say say it's wainscoting around, the edge of a room, and it's a huge room. I didn't like the color, so I'm going to change it all. And then you forget one wall, and then you move on to the next thing. And then before you know it, you're like, oh, I'm bringing over into survival this thing with the wrong wainscoting across this entire wall. So then your block count is off, because Lightmatica also gives you the ability to tell you exactly what blocks you need to gather for you when you're gathering supplies to build it. And yeah, it's all it's a big another time suck, as you could say.
So what happens? What do you do in a situation after you discover, like, oh my gosh, I have to tear that down and redo it? Do you just take a little break?
Yeah.
Come back?
Yeah. I often walk away from it, what have you. I probably don't walk away as much as I really want to, or should rather, in a healthy sense. There's a video that I have on my YouTube channel in Astrea. I forget what the title is. I'll look this up in a second, but it's when I was destroying, like running the TNT dupers. But there was a point where I literally worked 16 hours straight over, like on a Saturday or Sunday or whatever, without walking away. And so I have a little kind of lore in my Astrea videos where there's a person in chat, in the Minecraft chat, that talks to me, and it'll correct me. Like when I'm in the edit, I use it to like correct when I mislabel a block or just say something out of turn or what have you. So it actually talked to me for the first time in this video, saying, dude, you've spent 16 hours straight. Like, you need to take a break.
It talks to you?
Well, it's my lore. So
got you. Yeah. I was like, wait, because in the world of AI, I was trying to.
It's kind of like that though. It's this otherworldly voice that I'm trying to build into the lore of my videos, where it basically, actually at the beginning of my streams too, it's the thing that's telling the viewers that the stream's about to start, and that be patient and stuff like that. It likes to poke fun at me though. It likes to criticize me and what have you.
I like that. So you kind of have an alter ego type thing going.
Yes. Yeah. It's just ... is the name of it.
Nice. No, that's cool. I didn't realize that. That's awesome. That's funny, actually.
But it told me to take a break, and I ignored it, and I just kept on going.
And how did that result?
I finished the job. That was the 26-hour thing. I didn't do 26 hours straight. I did 16 hours straight though, and then I took a break, and then I started it again. And I completed it in the next few days.
That's a long
time to be playing a video game.
16 hours. Yeah, I bet your eyes were burnt.
The worst. My eyes are already shot because I'm a computer programmer, so I've worked in this industry for over 20 years. The worst thing that happens to me is my neck and shoulders start burning.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I tend to like lean in way too much. I have horrible ergonomics. Like I'm not smart.
I'm kind of like you, screen. Randy. I'm kind of like you. I was never a gamer up until Minecraft, and that was just why I started this. I got back into Minecraft 2.5 years ago, and then that's the only video game I've ever been sucked into in my life. And I'm a huge hiker and outdoors person, but I'm starting to notice, since I started this podcast and I'm in front of my laptop a lot more, that my eyes are starting to get worse. And I'm starting to notice I need to focus a little bit more on my posture and things like that. And I'm starting to feel your pain.
Yeah. Like my left hand actually right now is really sore with because I'm using a keyboard in Minecraft, because all the last 2 days I've spent every moment that I had free terraforming the island. So
gosh. Yeah. Well, maybe you'll get a little break tomorrow or something.
No, I'm actually, tomorrow's going to be the big day, because Flashback was just updated for 1.21.6. So Astrea, Asumi, the server owner, updated to 1.21.6 because he was excited about the happy guests. So he did it immediately, and none of the mods that I used to record videos were updated. So I took a little break, given I also had a family vacation in there. So but it was updated just an hour ago or something, maybe 2 hours ago.
Oh, gosh.
So I have to hit the ground running.
Well, you might have to take another vacation in a couple weeks. We're actually approaching the hour mark, but I have a few questions I want to ask before we wrap up the first half of the show. I want, since we're on the topic of sweat, blood, and tears in your projects, I wanted to ask, what has been your favorite build that you've done and your least favorite? Or I guess not your least, but your most strenuous or difficult. Sorry, not least favorite.
Most difficult?
Yeah, most difficult, and then your I guess most easygoing one.
The most difficult is probably the castle in my Forever World, because with the interiors and everything, it was a lot of building and everything. I mean, I guess take that aside that, I did terraform in Astrea the entire island and blew it up with these TNT flying machines. So that was difficult in itself.
That sounds difficult.
But as far as like manual, like pickaxe by myself, mining that castle, I built it inside the valley of a mountain. So this mountain has like a kind of a donut shape, so there's all these snowy capped mountains. And then inside there was a flower forest. And I'm like, right when I first discovered the seed, when I first launched the world, I'm like, I'm going to build a castle in here. And then I waited a few years before I tackled it, but it was a lot of digging, a lot of prep. Even it was built primarily with stone, so it's fairly easy to get the blocks, but it was just a ton of work, a ton of work. Easy going. Probably my. I have recency bias, obviously, but probably my redstone shop, because it was. I threw that together really quick, and that was actually fairly early in my Astrea career. Like I built my conservatory, and then within a couple weeks, I think I built the redstone shop because I had a trading hall going, and I was trading for with stonemasons. So I was getting bricks, and I was doing that just to get XP to mend up my tools when I was digging out the conservatory. So I was already set, like with blocks, which that's usually the biggest struggle, is just gathering the blocks. It's just a lot of work gathering blocks. And I had been mining for diamonds, so I used deep slate and bricks a lot in that build in the redstone shop. So it was very easy to I think I already had almost all the blocks on hand. I barely had to do anything. I had to make the rockets, but luckily on Astrea, it's been going since October of last year, I think, September, October of last year. So everyone already has there's community farms for pretty much everything. So gunpowder was easy. There was a huge sugarcane farm already. So, getting the paper and actually getting the rockets going was super easy. I just had AFK at a couple farms for, a couple hours, and the whole shop was full of product within, pretty immediately.
That's really neat. I keep forgetting that this is a multiplayer server you're on. Do you get a lot of people coming to your island?
There's not really that much. It's a little weird. There's the core group of people that started the server, which is assuming the server owner and maybe 4 or 5 other individuals. You can tell that they've been friends for a while. Then there's another group that, and I would count myself part of this, kind of like the content creators. So I don't want to say forcing interactions necessarily, but we're more comfortable trying to get an interaction going. We're more social because we want, we're creating content. We want to record things. We want those interactions and what have you.
Yeah.
But out of those 2 groups, I'd say the majority of people kind of keep to themselves. Everyone uses the shopping district and the public farms and stuff, but there's not a ton of chat and what have you. And I think there's over 100 people technically that have access to the server, but there's probably only 25 that actually play regularly. And out of those 25, there's probably only 12 that are really, really social and active. And long story short, did that answer your question? I totally lost track of your question.
You answered the question. I was just trying to get a feel of. I keep forgetting that's a survival or that's a multiplayer server, and it sounds. I didn't realize that it was that new too. You just mentioned it started like what, October last year, so
yeah, September or October. So it's just approaching a year and like maybe 3 months shy of a year.
Well, that's pretty neat. No, it makes sense too that a lot of you content creators are socializing because I mean, probably just that's what we do. We show off our projects and
directly answer. Did anyone visit my? I have for the people that socialize a lot, they have visited because I've invited them. But I'd say outside, like most people just again keep to themselves, so they don't really like fly around to other people's bases. There's also a little bit of with that many people, you don't really know everybody. I think some people get a little put off on people just like roaming around their base. I don't. I as long as you're not stealing from me, I don't really care.
Yeah, no.
Actually, my close friends on the server, like the people that I've gotten close to, you can even steal from me. I don't really care. But yeah, there's been a few. Like there's the age range is the biggest culture thing that I think I had to get used to because I watch a lot of Hermitcraft, and yes, there is a I think Doc M77 is the oldest. I think he's like 47, and then the youngest is probably like Gem or somewhere 24 or something like that. I'm just guessing at these people's ages, but I think somewhere around there. So you got a 20-year age range. On Estrella, me and a couple others are the oldest, and I'm not going to say how old, but then we have 16-year-olds on there. And the 16-year-olds are basically like, they kind of remind me of my kid. And, it's just play styles are going to differ. When you have a 30-year difference, I try to get on the server to accomplish a goal. They might just be like kind of messing around and they're going through their 2-week cycle. They're a lot. We have a lot of people I've only been on the server for 6 months or so, 5 months, something like that. And we have a lot of people that come in, they play for a little while. They're super into it. They're on every day, every night. Like you can see them signing in, building their base, what have you. And then they just disappear. And you haven't seen them since. Like all of a sudden one day a light switch goes off and it's like, oh, what happened to that guy?
I'm starting to think that's quite common amongst servers because I had a common guest on the show, Nightstake. They play on the world's oldest SMP server, and they've been doing that for a couple years now. But they've told me like they have like, well, you can only imagine since it's been around. It's been around since like 2012, and
oh wow,
yeah, it's pretty old. And so they've had thousands upon thousands of people sign up for this, but they're only have a handful of, it sounds like, of long-term people, and most of them are just there just for the experience, and then they check out, and it's just always this flux of people coming in and coming out, and I and it makes sense to me, honestly. It kind of makes sense.
Yeah, totally. It is really weird though, like when you're flying around, because I mean, usually we're using like the nether roof to travel around long distances, but if you decide to break out your wings and just kind of fly, you'll see the weirdest things, like just these like half started, half broken down projects and stuff. There's a gold farm on the server that I tried to use my first week, and I almost got killed by a baby, zombified piglin, like right off the bat.
Yeah,
like, what is these things are? Some things have fallen in disrepair, and it can be a bit of a struggle.
That's funny. So I'm guessing that server doesn't reset the world ever.
No, Asumi, who's the server owner, there's a few like admins and stuff, but Asumi takes care of the majority of the maintenance. He he maintains it. He updates it to the newest version when it's appropriate. But other than that, it's just going.
Well, Randy, we're a little bit over an hour. I want to go ahead and end part 1 of this week's episode on that note of the server. But when we get back into it, for part 2, I want to pick up at redstone because it sounds like you really enjoy redstone contraptions and builds. Am I right?
Sure do. Yep.
Cool. I want to pick your brain on that. And then I have a few more questions about your video production specifically before we get into your musical background and the band that you're in and the Bell Beat. And I want to get into all that as well. So we have a lot more to talk about. And to the audience, I just want to say thank you for tuning in. Randy, where can we find you again, just so the audience can look you up?
I am on Blue Sky and YouTube. Those are the only two social networks.
Just type in Randy Bishop.
Yeah, if you search Randy Bishop Games, you're going to find me. Blue Sky, it's a little different. I think it's
I have it right
RNDYB. So it's a little weird, but on YouTube, it's Randy Bishop Games. And I'll be the first result, guaranteed.
Yeah, and for the Blue Sky people, it's at rndyb.bsky.social. And thank you so much for coming on to the show, Randy. It's been awesome to pick your brain. I look forward to hearing about all the rest here in part 2.
Excellent. Thanks.
And I will see you guys all soon. And I wish you all happy crafting. The Dark Lord signing out. Hey, Realm News fans, it's your host, the Dark Lord, the one who puts the real in Realm and expands your mind one block at a time. I am here to tell you that your support means everything. Spread the word by telling friends, liking, and commenting on Spotify or Good Pods. Find me on X, Blue Sky, Reddit, or via email at bio.link/realm news. For more content, join my Patreon at the Copper, Diamond, and VIP tiers for early episodes, bonus content, and newsletters. Find out more at bio.link/realm news. No pressure, though. Just keep listening, liking, and sharing. That's more than enough. Happy crafting, and see you at the next Realm News.